everybody, welcome back to the Peebs channel. I've been kind of busy lately, but I wanted to get another Peebs video recorded, so I was looking through my list of different topics of things to do, and I saw one that I've had written down for a very long time, the games that I regret buying the most. And I thought that would be fun, so that's what we're doing. I spent a decent amount of time thinking about this. I jogged my memory. I went through every physical game I had as well, and I've got a nice pile of games here to talk about, aka rant about, especially in the case of a few of them. Should be fun. If you're wondering why I've been busy though, it's because I've been trying to get a very long video done on my other channel, Peanut Butter Gamer, for my Arthur U2s, which I assume is out by now. I hope it is, because this video is up. This is an actual PVG/Arthur collab that even says so on the box. If you want to get yours, you can use the link in the description below. It's only going to be available for 4 months, so if you're interested, make sure you act now. Just about to upload this video and I realized I messed up. It's not 4 months, it's 4 weeks. You better get it now while you still can. I'm gonna put me, Arthur, over here. We're gonna be watching. All right, so let's start with the first game I have here. Why not? This one's really not very surprising at all. I've ranted about this game a lot before. Mario Party, the top 100. For a very long time, I think there were even PB and Jeff recordings of me saying this. I wanted a Mario Party All-Stars, that's what I used to call it. All the best Mario Party minigames, all the best Mario Party maps, all into one big Mario Party game. Even like as a kid, I wanted that. I really thought that this was going to be that, and it was in theory, but it just failed on so many different levels. The minigames were clearly not the best. I mean, basically none of my favorite minigames were on there, maybe like 1 or 2. It had some of my literal least favorite minigames on as well. There wasn't any real party board mode, which is the main mode that people want in Mario Party. It had some kind of like every player moves at the same time thing. I don't know. It just wasn't that good. They were very much focused on playing the stupid mini-games, which, I mean, again, the mini-games are fun. Not the ones I would have picked, but the mini-games are fun. But they're more fun in the context of the actual board game, like when there's actually something at stake. I don't know, it just felt like this could be a side game in, like, any of the other Mario Party games. I mean, the main game was just, like, even the original N64 games had that. Like, play any of the mini-games in order in a row. Whoever wins the first of 5 wins, whatever. Who cares? Dumb game. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm never talking about it ever again. You will never hear me say the words Mario Party Top 100 ever again. All right, where do we go next? I think I have these stacked in like order of console, but I kind of want to do them a little more random. Okay, this is kind of a funny one. Minecraft Wii U Edition. Technically, we're already breaking the rules of the title. I did not buy this. It's still sealed, as you can tell. First of all, who really needs Minecraft for the Wii U? Like, Minecraft on the Wii U? Why? Nintendo really wanted to make this a thing, though. And Minecraft was the most popular game in the planet. It practically still is, amazingly. That and Fortnite, like, the staying power those games have is pretty impressive. Say what you want about the games. They're still kicking. Nintendo wanted a piece of that with Minecraft Wii U. Again, I said I didn't buy this, though, and I didn't. I was given this for free by Nintendo or, you know, whatever company that Nintendo hired to hand out games to YouTubers before one of them, like, leaked a Kirby DS game or something. I can't even remember what it was. And we all got penalized for it, so thanks, whoever that was. But they had already kicked me off the program a long time before that because they kept sending me games that I'd never asked for. I would hit them up and be like, yo, I want to do a video on the new Breath of the Wild game. Can you hook me up with that? Actually did get it, which was pretty sweet. Got that game early. Did the same thing with Mario Odyssey. It's like, hey, I'm gonna make a video on this. If you're sending these out to people, I'm definitely gonna promote it. I'm not gonna promise that I'll say, oh, the game's amazing, but I mean, I'm probably gonna like it, so, you know. You might as well send it to me. And those went really well. I mean, I never had any problems with them. But at some point, they started sending me all this bull crap that I didn't want. And I kept telling them, yeah, no, I'm not gonna do a video on that. They're like, hey, you wanna do a video on Mega Man Collection? Oh, that sounds pretty cool, but I don't think I'd do a video on it. All right, we'll send it your way. And then they get mad at me that I didn't do a video about it. But yeah, eventually they emailed me and they're like, you're not doing any content on these games we're sending you. You're out. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And they sent me a list of these games I didn't do. This was one of them. You didn't talk about Minecraft Wii U. Guys, what do you want me to say? It's Minecraft on the Wii U. There you go. That's the video. So there, I finally talked about it. Next, we'll do a game I actually did buy. I'm pretty sure that's the only one that I didn't personally purchase, considering that is the whole topic of this video. Okay, this one kind of feels bad. GrimGrimoire, I think is how you pronounce it, for the PS2. In fact, the art style is basically the only good thing about it. I had a brief stint, would that be the word, where I was into Nippon Ichi Software games, and I saw this one. I want to say I bought it at an actual convention, like maybe Screw Attack Game Convention, or it was around that time anyway. And I didn't really know what this game was. I saw this cute witch character. I love the art style. It was like some kind of like wizard school thing. I was like, that sounds sick. I gotta get my hands on this game. It was kind of expensive too. It wasn't like super cheap or anything. I'm sure it goes for way more now than it did then, but at the time especially, it was like, I didn't have a lot of money, but I was really convinced that this would be a good game. It turns out, unfortunately, it is a real-time strategy game for the PS2. If that doesn't sound very good, yeah, it's not. I recently even picked this up again to give it another try, and yeah, no, it's just as bad as I remember. I mean, it's not even bad, it's just boring. Like, there's not a lot of room for good, like, complex gameplay RTS mechanics on the PlayStation. And despite what I just said a minute ago, I don't even know if this is that expensive because I don't really think there's a lot of demand for it. I feel like if it was expensive, I would have included it on my, like, most expensive games that I own video that we did recently. I assume I would have checked this one because it seems like the kind of game, oh yeah, it's kind of like a obscure PS2 game from a known company that doesn't release a lot of games translated in the US. Yeah, it's really not, especially compared to some other Nippon Ichi software games. I actually think I probably paid more for it than people are buying for it now, practically, at the time. That's how uninterested people are in this game. And I'm also uninterested in it. Too bad. Looks really good, though. Oh my god. Okay, here we go. 1-2 switch! Man, I don't even remember what video I was working on for a script for my PBG channel, but I wrote a bunch of stuff for this game. I remember writing it. What was it for? It's one of these videos that I stopped working on, and maybe I'll come back to it in a year or two and finish it up. But yeah, I wouldn't go as far as to say that this is a bad game. It's, you know, it's a whatever party game. It's just, I really kind of had high hopes for it. You know, this was after the Wii. I mean, well, it was after the Wii U. I always forget the Wii U even existed half the time. Sorry, Scott. But let's just say it was nowhere near as good or charming or anything as Wii Sports. You know, you might be able to get your grandma to pick up a Wiimote and start playing some tennis, but, you know, you're gonna have a little bit harder of a time convincing her to grab a nipple and milk it. Come on, Grandma, just grab the nipple! It's a video game! We did a series on this on PB and Jeff, and those videos were fun, admittedly, but the actual game itself is not fun, especially considering instead of being like a free launch title like Wii Sports was, this was a full price game. It wasn't cheap, and I'm not kidding. I've never played this game ever. Not even once. I never even thought about playing it again after we did those PB and Jeff videos, so yeah. Total waste of money. Well, I mean, it wasn't because of the videos, but you know, otherwise it would have been. The Conduit. Remember The Conduit? Yeah, me neither. Like, I actually don't remember anything about the actual game. When the Wii was first coming out, there was, let's see, it was the Wii, the Xbox 360, and the PlayStation 3. That just doesn't sound right, but I'm pretty sure it was. And obviously they had way better graphics, a lot more mature games, a lot of shooters, Halo, and things like that. Grand Theft Auto. I was a big Nintendo boy, though, at the time. I was always a Nintendo fan. I mean, I wasn't like a super console warrior or whatever. I mean, I usually would end up buying like PlayStation consoles like a generation later after they came out because I wanted to try the games that I missed out on. But you know, generally we could only afford like one console per cycle or whatever. So I stuck with Nintendo. I liked Mario, I liked Zelda, it just made sense. But there was a part of me that was a little jealous about all these more violent, mature shooter games. There was a few different games for the Wii where people were like, now this is the violent game for the Wii. People say there's no violent, good violent, gory games for the Wii. This is it. I think like No More Heroes comes to mind or something. I thought about putting that on here actually. Did I? I don't think I did. Yeah, I've gotten over my No More Heroes hate. It's not a bad game. But the Wii's Halo killer was gonna be The Conduit. It wasn't. And I was one of the people who was buying that hype. I was on the Conduit train. And yeah, it didn't work out. We don't need to talk about it further. Oh, for a second I was really confused. I was like, what do I have Sin and Punishment in here for? And I was like, oh yeah, I was gonna use these as examples of shooters that actually were good on the Switch. They didn't tend to be first-person shooter type games. They were more like on-rails shooters. Like, again, Sin and Punishment, which I didn't actually try until I did my top 10 Wii games video, because people were telling me to try this. You guys were right. It's an amazing game. And also, probably less so, but you know, I had fun with it. Dead Space Extraction, I remember me and my brother played this when we were on like some trip for Thanksgiving or something. 2-player on-rails Dead Space shooter. I had fun with it. But like, yeah, there were some good shooters, but The Conduit wasn't it. Sorry, The Conduit. I bet none of you in the comment section even remember that game. Maybe like 5 of you. If you do, let me know. Almost forgot about this one. Mario Golf. What is it even called again? Super Rush. Everyone's favorite Mario Golf game. Sure, there are other golf games, but in those golf games, can you run? I didn't think so. That's why this is the best game ever made. It's why it's the best game ever made. It's so good, I don't even need to shine any light on it so that you can see it. Yeah, I actually don't even have anything else better to say that. I just wrote this down. That's all I wrote. That's all I wrote. That's all I have to say about Mario Golf Super Rush. I barely even played it enough to have that strong of an opinion about it. I was just so unimpressed. I'd genuinely rather pull up my Nintendo Switch Online and play Mario Golf 64. I feel like that game alone just has more charm, at least, than the original one. And it's definitely not better than the 3DS Mario Golf game, Toadstool Tour, I think it's called. That's a great one. Super Rush, dude, there was just this point where Nintendo was just throwing out sports games like crazy, and it started to feel like they just didn't have any, like, heart in them. Maybe I'm wrong in that, but to me it kind of felt that way. And I do think that Super Rush might be the worst, worst example. Let's stick with another Nintendo game. Super Mario Brothers, new Super Mario Brothers Wii, I mean. This was actually recently, there was some discussion on this. There was some, what do they call it? Discourse. I think that's what they're calling it these days. There was some discourse online about this. Or more so, just the new Super Mario Brothers games in general. Now, I would never say that these games are bad. They're not. They're not bad games. I just don't care about them at all or remember any of it. I couldn't tell you one part of this game that I remember. Like, not a single one. The penguin suit. There you go. The penguin suit was in this game. It was the first game the penguin suit was in. And that was pretty groundbreaking, right?
No.
I guess I do remember the co-op play. You know, it was something. It existed. I did have more fun, admittedly, with the Switch version, which was the only other new Super Mario Brothers game that I played. Because, again, I played it with Jeff. It would have been more fun to play with other people, but, I mean, let's be real. How often are you sitting together with people playing, like, console games in person? Not that often. So if you don't have online, which the Wii didn't have, it didn't have online, right? If it did, it was terrible. I can't remember. I mean, I'm just playing this by myself, Nintendo, and it really wasn't interesting enough of a game to play by myself. Again, I would rather just go back and play, like, Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo or something. It just feels like there just was, like, barely any innovation in this. It might not even be fair criticism, but that's just how it feels. And sometimes how people feel is the prevailing narrative, you know? That's just the way life is. Let me know if you are a new Super Mario Bros. Defender in the comments. It's not my most strongly held opinion out of all of these, that's for sure. I did like Super Mario Brothers Land and World, though. Those I did enjoy a lot more than the new Super Mario Brothers games, the side-scrollers. Okay, this is kind of a weird one, I guess. I'm not saying anything about this game in particular, because you can tell I didn't even open it. Little King Story. This is another game I was, like, super excited about during the Wii era. I bought it and I just never played it, so I can't say, like, it was a bad game. I regret buying it because I never played it and I don't plan to. It kind of looks like a weird mosh posh of, like, Pikmin, MySims Kingdom. This is a request. Should I play Little King Story? Should I play it? Let me know. This is another one of those games that I would have thought from my most expensive games I own video that this would have gone up in price, but I remember looking at it, it wasn't. I think it's just one of those games where people didn't really play that much of it, so there's not a lot of demand for it, so no one's paying a lot of money for it. Sometimes it's just as simple as that. But yeah, again, kind of a weird one because I don't have anything to say about it. It's just, I just genuinely regret buying it. I never played it, so I regret it. Next, I've got Spore! This is another one where I technically don't literally regret buying it because I did eventually come to enjoy it a little bit more. I did an entire video on it, so that alone, you know, I have some nostalgia for it now. But when I first bought it, I was so unimpressed with this game. And it was weird because it wasn't that I was unimpressed right from the get-go, which I sometimes am. I'll talk about the next game if it fits that category. At first, I was like, whoa, this game is sick! You know, you're like swimming around and you're eating other things and you're growing, your thing's growing, and then you become a bigger whoop-de-doop creature or whatever you call it, and you got these crazy arms and legs, you can make them look weird, and then you're wandering around and you're killing all these other creatures, and then they're killing you, and then you see some big thing, and it's like, oh my god, this is just so cool. And then all of a sudden, it kind of turns into like a RTS game, and it's like, okay. I mean, I was kind of having fun with the other stuff, but, you know, an RTS game now? Okay, I'll get through this, and we'll move on to the next phase. And then it's like, I'm doing some, like, space RTS kind of thing, and I was like, wait, what is this? This wasn't what I was expecting. It's like, the more I played it, the less I liked it. And considering it was from the creator of The Sims, I really had high hopes for it. I was expecting to like it. I was reading the instruction booklet like crazy. I think I was in college at the time that this came out, so I like brought the instruction booklet with me to class, just like looking through it, like looking at all this stuff. And I don't know, I just felt super disappointed by the time I was finished playing. I think I got done playing in like a couple hours, and then I didn't pick it up again like ever after that, until I did my video. And I did come to realize that I was wrong about the spaceships segment or whatever at the end. It's actually probably the best part of the game. It just wasn't what I was expecting when I first bought it. I was expecting something a little more Sims-ish, something like more grounded in like a literal sense, I guess, where I'm like roaming around the planet with my creature, not like flying into space and, you know, I don't know. But that part of the game actually is cool if you give it a chance, you know. But at the time, I really regretted this game. I wouldn't go as far as to say I was mad. I wasn't angry. I was just disappointed, Spore. You know? Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I'm gonna go into my next game, which I actually don't have a physical copy for. I usually buy physical games. I don't even remember why I didn't buy this one physical. But it is from one of my, or at least used to be, one of my favorite video game developers, Bethesda. Half of the reason why I even wanted to make this video so I could talk about it, Starfield. I have been a big Bethesda fan for a long time. I was kind of a Bethesda defender. One of my all-time favorite games is Oblivion. One of the games I put the most hours into is Skyrim. I even like Morrowind. I like the original Arena. I like Daggerfall. I like basically every Elder Scrolls game. I love Fallout 3. I love Fallout New Vegas. Fallout 4 was alright, it was fine. And I'm really into, at least theoretically, into sci-fi stuff. I'm kind of picky with my sci-fi. But it really seemed like Starfield was gonna be like my kind of thing. They had the whole Alien vibe, like, I mean, the movie Alien with the spaceships, the technology and everything. A big Bethesda RPG, you can fly around in space and sort of like Space Skyrim or whatever. I was so stoked for this game. I thought it was gonna be great. Let's just say it wasn't. I know some people disagree with me. I've even had some people get genuinely pissed at me on Twitter just because I said, I didn't really like it. And they were so mad. PBG, don't you know if you play for 22 hours, it eventually gets good? Look, I heard those comments the same as you did when I was playing, and I put those 22 hours in, and I'm sorry to say, it never got better. The only part of the game where I was having fun, I think genuine, other than maybe like a firefight here or there, kind of fun here, I guess, you know, gun combat was mildly entertaining, was at the beginning. When you are in the cave and you're like working in like as a miner in a cave and you have these big clunky looking suits and you're kind of walking through the cave system, and I'm like, wow, this looks pretty cool. I'm about to play a really cool game right now. I'm very excited to play this game. And then after you find the weird thingy, artifact, whatever, it like all goes downhill from there, like almost instantly. First of all, you very quickly realize that the spaceship flying that they touted so highly, something that I really love in other games like Elite Dangerous, for example. I love just this tedious, long space flying simulator. It's almost so complicated that I can't even barely figure out how to play it, but I love it anyways. Flying from star system to star system, flying your spaceship into the place where you're landing, you have to physically land it yourself. It really adds a lot of immersion. You can't even get out of your spaceship in that game, or at least not when I played it last. But it still felt so realistic. I felt like I was actually flying the ship because, first of all, I don't know what I'm doing, so that part feels realistic. But just being in the ship and flying everywhere you go, having to land, take off, everything, it felt like I'm actually in the game. I'm actually delivering this stupid cargo from one part of the universe to the other. I didn't expect Starfield to be quite that complex. But I did think, and I don't know why I thought this, but I did think that you would be flying from like planet to planet and like landing, you know? Like actually flying to the planet and landing on it. You don't do that. The spaceship part of the game could be completely taken out. It doesn't even matter at all. The spaceship is just glorified fast travel. You get into your spaceship so that you can fast travel to another planet and then just get off the spaceship. I don't feel like the spaceship is my spaceship. It's just a room that I go into so that I can then teleport to some other room. But even other little things, like, first of all, I don't know if other people complained about this. I genuinely don't, because I was so bored with Starfield that I didn't even listen to any discourse about it. I was not plugged into any people talking about it. I didn't watch videos of people talking about it. I was just so disappointed and bored with it that I didn't want to ever hear the term Starfield again. Which is why in the viewer snack video I was complaining about the Starfield Doritos. They were replaced with the stupid Starfield ones. Freaking Starfield pissing me off again. I saw the Starfield Doritos and it reminded me that Starfield existed and I got mad. But the people in the game, like, not necessarily the main characters or the people that you talk to, but like just the other people that are kind of filling the space. Am I crazy? Why are they so ugly? Like literally every single one of them are so ugly and I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like it seems like every single person on the planet that I'm on is like an ugly ugly old lady. I don't have any problems with ugly old ladies. I don't. I love me a good ugly old lady or two, or three even. But why is every person on this planet an ugly old lady? I don't, what is the reason for that? Say what you want about the character designs in other Elder Scrolls games and Fallout and stuff. I mean, they look mostly normal, and they all consistently look normal-ish. I don't know. It was just like little stuff like that was kind of taking me out of it. Also, there's no aliens. I don't remember seeing a single alien in the game. From a realistic standpoint, I guess I wouldn't be that surprised if we like teleported like a few hundred years in the future and we had all these space civilizations and all these planets and stuff, and we hadn't actually encountered any alien life yet. I mean, that wouldn't be that surprising to me. I mean, the universe is humongous. Who knows what's out there or how far away any other life form would be. But I mean, come on. This is a sci-fi game. It's science fiction. Why don't just make some aliens? Like, it would have done a lot to make the game feel more like a futuristic space world. But it kind of didn't really feel like that at all. Again, because the space stuff was so pointless anyways. So you're basically just going from planet to planet. You might as well just be on one planet, moving from like city to city across the planet. But it didn't really feel spacey or futuristic at all. And I think having any kind of other alien species would have gone a long way from that. Maybe I'm wrong though. Maybe I'm just like, my memory is completely blank on this. Maybe there actually were alien species. I don't remember them though. But by far the worst part about it was just how boring it was. It felt like a walking simulator. Like, I'm just running around in this big city. It feels like there's nobody there. Like, it's a ginormous, supposedly highly populated city. There's barely anyone in this city. I'm just running from place to place. I don't really know where I'm going. And don't even get me started when you land on some planet. Well, they got like 7,000 planets. Cool. Why would I want to go to any of them? I don't. Literally running from one place to the other. That's when I really was like, whoa, wait a second. This game isn't good, is it? I don't know. I don't need to rant any further about this because I'm assuming a lot of people have talked about this in the past, but I don't know. I just hated this game so much. And yeah, again, I played for like 22 hours or whatever people said. You need to play this long for it to get good. I finally got to this one planet where people said fun stuff happened on it. I got there, I found a side quest, and I was like, hey, this side quest is mildly entertaining, I guess. And then I realized I had played 22 hours to get to a quest that was only mildly entertaining. I turned it off in the middle of the quest, never opened it again. Starfield, great game. I know people will get mad at me because apparently there are some Starfield fans. I just don't get it. By all means, I'm happy you like the game. I just was very disappointed in it. And I don't even have a physical version to sell to someone else. I have it on Steam. Great, what am I gonna do with that? Never play it again or install it or look or think about it? That's the answer, yes. Okay, God, I spent way too long ranting about that. Okay, so context. I never really played Final Fantasy VII growing up. I borrowed it from my friend and played for like 2 seconds before he made me give it back to him. I was vaguely interested in it, but you know, I never really had a PlayStation. By the time I did get a PlayStation, you know, I had already moved on to some other stuff. I did play a little bit of the Final Fantasy VII remake back when it came out like forever ago on the PlayStation 3 or 4 or whatever it was. But then I heard people talking about it recently. The new Final Fantasy VII game came out. Everybody was hyping it up, talking about how great it was. So I was like, you know, hey, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna check it out. I got it at Target. I was super excited to go home and play it. I don't know why I thought this was true, but I had it in my head that this game, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, was the entire Final Fantasy VII game remake completed from start to finish. Like, they had done it in like chapters, I thought, and I thought surely they were done with the game now because it had been so long, and like, yeah, this was the final one. All the game is in here. This is the game from start to finish. Yeah, it's not. It's actually the second out of 3 parts, is my understanding. I started playing this, I'm like, wait a second. Again, I'm not a Final Fantasy expert, but I remember the intro. It's like, you know, we're like terrorists, right? We're about to blow up this big like core, this big power thing and an explosion and everything. When's that coming in? I remember that being in the game. Where's that? Yeah, it's not in the game because that's not what this game is. This is part 2. Then I realized I have to buy another game to play that, and then I can play this. So I have this game now. Really excited to play this whenever I get around to buying another game that I can play and get through all the way through that, so then I can play and get all the way through this game, which is also long. Yeah, so it was mostly just me being stupid. I regret buying this because I didn't do any research ahead of time. I just purely bought into the hype. I don't know why I even thought it was the full game. I don't, like, nobody told me that. I just had it in my head that it was. I was wrong, so do your research before you spend your money. That's the lesson for this segment. All right, I got a few more games here. Myst for the 3DS. This is a Myst remake. The original Myst came out, I don't even want to know how long ago. I was a little kid when this game first came out. But it was a very revolutionary game. It was one of those games that like even your dad or your grandpa might play. Because it was just so impressive. The 3D rendering in the world you were walking around in, these crazy puzzles and stuff. Like no game, to my knowledge, existed like this before Myst. And even though I was too young to figure out what I was doing when I first played it, I remember being very enthralled by it. I would go back and play it over and over and over and try to figure out what I was doing. I never did. I remember like pressing something one time and something opened and I was like, oh my god, I solved Myst. That must be it. I did it. Yeah, I was like super young. But I was at the store randomly. I was like Fry's Electronics or something and I was looking through the 3DS games and I saw this. I was like, oh my god, yeah, I remember this game. I want to play this game again. Yeah, I'm just gonna get this. It'll be cool. I can play it on my 3DS. I got home and then for some reason I looked it up right before I played it after I bought it for some reason and saw like 8,000 threads about how this is the literal worst way to play Myst. I started playing it. Yeah, I don't recommend this port. This is not a good port. Another game that I just bought without like doing any research ahead of time. It's like, oh, it's Myst. I know that game. That game's great. Yeah. And another one similar to that. Luigi's Mansion for the 3DS, the remake. This is another game we did do a PB and Jeff series on, so it was fun to do the series where we could play this game co-op. But yeah, this is a terrible, terrible port. I highly unrecommend it. That doesn't even exist, but I unrecommend it. It's back and worse than ever. It's been a while since we did that series, but what I remember being the biggest problem was it was, first of all, super laggy. Like you can play with two people, but you're gonna get like 5 frames per second. It's like insanely bad. That was probably the worst part about it. We had other complaints too, though. I thought I could remember them once I started recording, but now that I am recording, I don't even remember what they were. I just remember that this port sucked so bad. It did bring Googie into life, though. I do like Googie. Gooigi? I just like calling him Googie. I do like Googie, though. Googie's alright. My boy Googie, you can stay. This port, though, you're out of here. MySims! Okay, so everybody, well, I don't know everybody, this was a long time ago, but in my old channel, it still exists, but my first channel, Peanut Butter Gamer, I still do make videos on that channel, by the way. One of the first, like, big video series that I did was on MySims. This was like my mortal enemy. That was this era of YouTube. My worst enemy gave me MySims or whatever, which was Smiley Man. Curse you, Smiley Man! Yeah, it was that kind of goofy era. I'm still like slightly nostalgic for that era of YouTube, but very antiquated at this point. But I did videos on MySims, and it was, you know, I did it for fun, most obviously. But I did have a genuine grudge, especially with this first game. I was very into Animal Crossing, I was very into The Sims, and MySims was kind of painted as a sort of mixture of those two games. This is back when every game was compared to Animal Crossing. If it didn't have violence in it, it was basically, oh, it's an Animal Crossing game. Yeah, I famously, I guess, did not like this game for various different reasons. The building was stupid. It didn't matter what you made, the people liked it. That's what I remember the most. You can make the crappiest thing ever, and they're just like, well, thanks for making that. My life is so much better now. I don't know. It had none of the stuff I wanted. It was nothing like The Sims. It was nothing like Animal Crossing. You just sort of wandered around the town, solving people's problems by building stuff, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to play The Sims Animal Crossing, and this is not that. I guess you can go back and watch my original video on this if you want to hear my full take or whatever that I said in that video like 10, 12 years ago. Also, I did not buy this for $4.99, by the way, or whatever. I lost my copy of MySims at some point. I had to buy another one, so I had to buy this game twice. I regret buying this game twice. And for the last game I have on this list, or whatever this is, Nintendo Switch Sports. This is a game that I do plan on talking about more in a future PWG video, probably. I wanted to like this game so bad.
Next up is this.
It's probably not.
It's a new iteration of the Wii Sports series.
What? Are you freaking kidding me?
Switch Sports. Please take a look.
What? I was so excited about this game. If I recall, I called this game on the Direct. Today, we've got a Nintendo Direct reaction. I'm hoping to see Switch Sports Resort, baby. I have a good feeling today's the day. I said, it's gonna be like Switch Sports or whatever. And it actually was, so I was super excited. I remember testing out the games before it even released on their like stress test or whatever, and I did have fun with it. There's a bunch of things I could nitpick about it, but I think my biggest complaint is it's just soulless compared to Woohoo Island and Wii Sports Resort. Wii Sports Resort had so much charm, and I'm just pissed they didn't bring back Woohoo Island. Like, where's Woohoo Island? Like, why did it have to be... Where even did this take place? In what fictional universe? I don't even know. I don't even think they put it on the back of the box because, like, nobody cares about it. The soccer game was alright. The volleyball game was alright. The sword game was alright. The bowling game was alright. It felt like every game was just alright, but not great. And there wasn't very many of the games. Like, what? There was like 6 games when this came out? Wii Sports Resort had at least 12. I think it was 12. And a couple of these games just felt like copies. First of all, bowling is in like every Wii Sports game, so it's just a copy of that. And it says a lot that it's one of the best games in Switch Sports, and it's been in every Nintendo sports game. But tennis and badminton are like the exact same game. I don't mind either of them. Badminton's a total workout, by the way. But they're like the same. They're exactly the same. Even volleyball feels very similar to badminton and tennis. So once you take those out, it's almost like you have 4 games, and 2 of them were already done in at least Wii Sports Resort, swordplay and bowling. It feels like the only new game in this is soccer, and while I did like the soccer game, it was probably my favorite out of all of them, it was not enough to make this an entire purchase. Like, I just feel like this game needed like 5 or 6 more games, and it needed Woohoo Island, and it didn't have either of those things, so very disappointing, especially considering that a sequel to Wii Sports Resort was like the game I wanted the most out of almost anything for like years. That and a new Tomodachi Life. Like, other than the obvious stuff like new Animal Crossing, new Zelda, new 3D Mario. Like, those were the games that I wanted the most. And I was just so bummed out that this didn't live up to it. And that's my list or whatever ramblings of my games I regret buying the most. Let me know what games you regret buying the most in the comments, and go check out the most expensive games I own video. It's very similar to this. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of these kinds of gaming talk rambly videos. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.